because the Navigator app is designed to
I
make
would do
things
this
work.
job even
People
if I were not
are
being paid
connecting
for
with each
it.
other
Oh, the
in
problem
It's really a passion
people in my
of
family
mine.
that are dealing
So
with
to be able
partnerships
to
and
help
generational
women,
health issues.
especially
share
Sure.
have any questions?
Welcome to Healthier Habits, where we dive into health and wellness challenges and connect you with local resources here in Chicago. I'm Cassandra Zumba.
And I am Yakwachi. We're your policy, systems, and environmental coordinators with the Chicago Partnership for Health Promotion, a program under the Office of Community Engagement and Neighborhood Health Partnerships at the University of Illinois, Chicago. Hello, and welcome to an episode of the Healthier Habit podcast. Today's setup is new. We usually have one guest, but today we're graced with two esteemed guests from the Healthy Schools campaign. Our first guest is Kenneth Varner, who is the Senior Community Engagement Manager with Healthy Schools campaign. He works with community members, parents, teachers, students, and school administrators in adopting school-based practices and policies that enhance health and wellness, with a key focus on engaging community members in Chicago's African American communities. He has worked as a health coordinator in Chicago Public School and implemented health initiatives to provide opportunities for students to acquire glasses and dental work at no cost, and functioned as a liaison between the school administration and the school-based health center. Kenneth currently co-leads the community design process for the Space to Grow Greening Schoolyard program. Kenneth joined Healthy School campaign in 2016, and he holds a Bachelor of Arts in Philosophy from the University of Illinois at Chicago. Welcome, Kenneth.
And here with us also is Jovita Flores, the manager of Parent United and Healthy Schools with Healthy Schools campaign, leads a network of wellness team made up of parents, students, school staff, and community partners across Chicago in the Latino, African American, and Asian communities. With a background in early childhood education and a degree in engineering, biochemistry, and food production from La Universidad Autónoma de Aguascalientes, she brings both technical expertise and a deep commitment to grassroots health education. Since joining HSC in 2008, Jovita has supported over 50 parent groups in building healthier schools and home environments through culturally relevant cooking classes, hands-on workshops, and advocacy for health-focused school practices. As an experienced community organizer, she empowers families to make sustainable lifestyle changes. Welcome both. Thank you for being here. I hope you guys are excited to be here. I know it's a different experience. So we're going to start with something easy to lead us into the conversation. We would like to know, what's your favorite place to eat in Chicago?
Yes, thank you very much for having us. We're very excited to be here. Thank you for inviting us to your platform to talk about these very important issues. Right now, I was going back and forth trying to think about where I like the most. I see my latest craving has been for Majani. It's out. It's like a vegan soul food restaurant in the South Shore neighborhood. I think it's my favorite place because I have dietary restrictions. And then there's just not a lot of places that I can eat in my neighborhood. So yeah.
I was going to point out the vegan part. I'm like, that's a special combination that, it's starting to go into different culturally different food. So that's cool. Jovita?
My favorite place is my house because I'm trying to find a good place to eat because I have diabetics and I need a lot of veggies and healthy food, and it's hard. But if I decide to go a Mexican restaurant, I have to look always for healthy options, and it's hard for me. I like all the cuisine, Asian, Chinese, Mexican, but I always try to look for something healthy.
Yeah, especially going out sometimes, just trying to look for the healthy option can get complicated, especially if there's a larger group and the menu doesn't state exactly what's in there. So a lot of, at least on my end, there's a lot of like pre-homework to see the menu.
I wish I could say I was on the healthy journey as you guys, but I need a little bit of work. But one of my favorite spot to eat is Shinwa Hot Pot and Grill. I love a good all-you-can-eat spot, and that place just fulfills everything that I look for. They have like a section where it just has spices, different spices, and I love spicy food. So I'm the regular there because at this point, I believe some of the waiter and waitresses can recognize when I come there. So that's how frequent, yes, that's how frequent I go to that spot. What about you?
For me, I try to find the balance for healthy and just, indulging in some of our cultural food. So in the weekends when I can, I go to La Catedral. Here, the main one from Little Village, and they're opening one in, not sponsored, they're opening one in downtown, but the chilaquiles, they're my favorite. So when I can, I go in there for my café de olla and my chilaquiles, once in a while. Dice mi abuelita que no hace daño, but you kind of need to balance it out.
All right.
Absolutely.
I love that you guys mentioned health and trying to find, trying to incorporate health in what you eat and your daily life. So what inspired each of you to work in community, particularly health and wellness?
I inspired my father and also in my Latino community because when I started the organization that I used to work before, Healthy Schools, they was looking for a person who knows the Latino community, and also they choose me because I diabetic, and a lot of people in my community have diabetic. Then I say, but I don't know about the problem in this country. But they say you can start looking for your neighbors, your parents, and you will see an amazing amount of people with diabetes. And then this is how I decide to start working in this project.
Yeah, most of the inspiration comes in because of your close family connections, and that kind of pushes you to strive to better the community. What about you, Kenneth?
I think for me, I just kind of I didn't know that I was going to go into health. It's just kind of where I found myself. Just like I said, I have dietary restrictions. I'm a pescatarian, so there's a lot of food that I couldn't eat. And that's like when you're in my neighborhood, like in the South Side, it's like you're going to find certain, like, chicken spots and, like all these greasy spoon type stuff. It's like nothing of which I can eat, like other fast food stuff. So I found myself, and just due to the friends that I had in like other neighborhoods, where I had more food options, where like there's a whole bunch of different choices. And I just, from experiencing other neighborhoods, like, man, I want this kind of stuff in my neighborhood, you know what I mean? Around me is like, and then also noticing, like, as Jovita was saying, people in my family that are dealing with like these generational health issues, and then seeing that all throughout my community, like what we're going through isn't unique, that it's a whole neighborhood problem. And it's like, this is something that it's something I became passionate about because it's just not fair. You know what I mean? It's like I want kids to be like educated on it.
Yeah. I think in one of our other podcast guests that we did have, we did speak about how healthy habits starts from childhood, even when you're in the womb as well. And especially in Black and brown communities, we really do not see the access to fresh produce as other communities may be able to see as well.
Yeah, it's a different experience from what some people may call typical. There's different family connections, different just emotional connection to food that it's hard to let go or adjust kind of the unlearn old habits. So just having an opportunity to see people within your same community saying, you can do this, you can change, you can adjust, you don't have to deny your food or your culture. We just have to make little tweaks.
Yeah.
Going into talking about Healthy Schools campaign, can you tell us a little bit about the mission and the organization?
At Healthy Schools campaign, we believe in the common sense notion that healthy students are better learners. So we work to outline and show the connections between health and academic performance, and making sure that schools are providing like those wraparound services that aren't just about teaching the math and the sciences, but about preparing the human child for what they're going to be going through their day. So making sure they're getting proper physical activity, proper nutrition education, and other services, dental programs, vision programs, making sure that we're looking at that child holistically. And that's the mission of Healthy Schools Campaign.
And then I see not only do you focus on the student aspect, but Jovita works along with the parents. So it's like a real well wrap around organization where you hit it from the external building structure to at home as well. Jovita, would you like to tell us a little bit about the experience you have with the parents and what feedback you get from them?
I started with working with parents with just trying to know more about the culture, the story in this country, and little by little using popular education, they told me how to start it. They said, in Mexico, we used to walk a lot. We used to eat fresh from the country, and then right here, we have to go to the stores. Sometimes it's not fresh. Sometimes it's too expensive. But if we return to walk more and eat more fresh fruit and vegetables and fresh food, cooking in the house, then we can start little by little come back to a healthy lifestyle.
Yeah, it's good to survey the community to see what is their needs and not just impose whatever we believe we think they need. Like you said, there's different experience that they all had within this country in a different space, but there's a sense of sometimes, I don't know if it would be assimilation, but you kind of have to adjust to the new ways here. So it's a lot different, maybe sometimes less active, less accessible, but it's good that you're getting their opinion just so you know where to target the help.
And Kenneth, when you mentioned looking at the child holistically and what they eat also affect their academic performance, I know when I go into the community and I'm talking to the community, that's one thing that comes up because of the lack of access to food. Maybe they go to the corner store and there are not healthy options there, and then they're drinking soda early in the morning. How are you able to keep the attention of a student throughout the whole day, especially when you have the sugar crashes as well too? So that is definitely one thing or a theme that does come up in the community as well. Jovita, you started in 2008 with the Healthy School Campaign, and then you in 2016, right? So based on both of you guys' experience, how has the history of the organization evolved or changed in 2008 and 2016 till now?
When I started with that project that is mostly focused on asthma and obesity in Latino community. And then little by little, the organization started with other projects like the Kenneth project and Space to Growth. But and then another projects were with teachers, preparing teachers to have better options for students in the classroom and other activities. And also policymakers, right? Yeah. Then it's Healthy Schools Campaign has been changing a lot, yeah, and adding more and more projects according with the community necessities.
Yeah, and I would say I've seen over the years that I've been there more like us working across programs, or like one program helping another one. So it's like we utilize the parents in Jovita's program for Parents United for Healthy Schools, and bringing them into the fold, and vice versa with the Space to Grow program, and making sure that those parents know about the asset in their community and utilizing those spaces. So we do a lot more work about just navigating those spaces and making sure the power of each of those programs are helping bolster the other ones. And I would say also just in bringing together the communities between the Latinx community here and the African-American communities here, we're able to try to bring more people into the same room that otherwise wouldn't necessarily interact with one another. I really love something that we've done before is cross-community talks, where we brought people together and we just had a potluck. You know what I'm saying? We was like, we had everybody just bring in their recipes that they brought from their families, and we did do like the healthy version, as you're saying, like to make those little tweaks.
But food is the connector. So.
Right, and we all just sat down and we just like ate food and just told each other the story of that recipe. And I remember people leaving there like, wow, like we have the same story. Like, you know what I'm saying? It was like, you have the people, families coming from Mexico and then dealing with this life in Chicago. We have African-American Chicagoans, like family is rooted in Mississippi and Alabama and like moving up to this big city. And it was like, yeah, we used to pick this stuff when I was a kid and when I was with my grandmother sitting on that. It was like everybody the same story. It's just that different languages and these divisions that are like falsely put upon us.
I feel like this hits exactly the conversation we had like a half an hour before setting up for this about different ingredients and how we use it in our own cultures. Just for the fun, just to learn about each other. And it shows that there's a lot of similarities.
Yes.
You hit on Space to Grow. I want to give you the moment so you can tell us a little bit more about it, go into a little bit what your role is and what it looks like out in the community.
Sure. Space to Grow is our greening schoolyard project. Put it simply, like basically imagine like a lot of elementary schools when you look at them and they just like have those asphalt fields that are outside. So we transform those spaces into green spaces. So we'll have like outdoor classrooms, native plant gardens, vegetable beds, sports courts, whether that be like football or soccer, basketball courts, play equipment, outdoor classrooms. And each of our schoolyards are going to be a little bit different from each one. They'll each have a lot of the same components, but the layout is going to be different because each schoolyard is going to be designed by the community in which it's in. And that's where my role comes in. I help bring people together. So we'll reach out to students, teachers, the administration, parents and caregivers, as well as the community members surrounding the school so that we can get input from everyone about what they would like to see in the space. Because it's not just about a schoolyard, it's about creating a community park that'll be open to the community outside of school hours. So that is just like, so we know there's like in a lot of different neighborhoods, primarily the Space Grow program is going to be in underinvested communities, or I'd say disinvested communities, you know what I'm saying? In Chicago, we know what it is. And then also in neighborhoods that will be in, that have high flood risk. Each of our schoolyards are designed to hold at least 150,000 gallons worth of water per rainstorm. And many of ours are like double or triple times that. And that helps reduce flooding in the neighborhood as well. So, you know, Chicago's notorious for that basement flooding. Yeah. So this kind of helps reduce that as well.
And that's one aspect that I want to have connected to, you know, this type of program. And that just helps the extended surroundings of the neighborhood.
Exactly. And yeah, that just a shout out to our capital partners, people that provide funding for that construction and renovation. It's going to be Chicago Public Schools, the Metropolitan Water Reclamation District, the Department of Water Management, and then also some help from the Department of Environment with this city.
So who or what schools are eligible for this, or how do they reach out if they can to start, you know, this process?
Right. So there is a certain criteria that schools would have to meet, which Chicago Public Schools and our capital partners will like look through the different criteria and we'll invite schools to apply from there. So it has to be in like disinvested communities, high flood risk communities. And there has to be like the school couldn't have received a recent renovation or capital improvement already. So like if you just got a brand new schoolyard put in, like we're not going to come in and dig that up to put something else. You know what I mean? Like because there's a lot of schools in need. So we want to make sure that we're like that it's an equitable resource allocation. So yeah, we'll invite schools to apply from there, and then we'll go through it with our capital partners, and we'll select a cohort of anywhere from 3 to 5 schools in which we'll work with that year, and then keep that going every year.
So every year is a different cohort of school. So what are some challenges that you have run into while like bringing up this program?
I think in the beginning, it might have been like people didn't really know what kind of thing we're offering, you know what I mean? But then once you see it, it's like, these are all like multi-million-dollar investments. And then you see the transformation and it's like, but then it's like, I think the only real challenge now is that we can only do so many a year, right? Like if it was up to me, like every school in Chicago and the country would have like one of these schoolyards, right? But the fact is we can only do like 4 or 5 max per year. So the need and the desire is higher than our capacity.
So, Jovita, as the manager of Parents United for Healthy Schools, what schools are involved, first of all, and what are your responsibility like?
Um, the schools that I have now is like mostly the ones that I started with the obesity project, and little by little, other parents from other schools that are concerned about the same situation, they ask to or request to participate with us. And right now we have like about 25 very active schools and parents. And then those parents usually are part of the wellness teams. And also during in the wellness team, we have teachers, we have students, we have principals participating in other organizations.
So I don't know if Jovita knows this, but I met her years ago prior to being here at CPHP. I used to work for an elementary school, and she would come in with the parents and, do workshops with them, help out the other parent mentor who was organizing the sessions, and she would come in and share recipes with them and talk to them. So I've seen her work in the community for a while now, at least from my point of view, since wow, I haven't been there since probably 10 years ago. So it's been a while. It was with Virina.
Yeah.
That's a
With
group.
the school.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And also we continue working in the same way that as we started, because in the first schools that I started in Little Village, and the parents says, we would like to see something like a cooking class, but a healthy, where we can prepare the food that we used to eat every day, but in a healthy way. And then since I'm diabetic, and then I decided to first prepare for myself and my family, and then go to the community, and then do in the healthy cooking classes, and just following the recommendation from the parents. Yeah, and then this is how the parents are now involved, because they are identifying with the problem, and also they know that the only way to fit with the diabetics and all the health problem is to change the food that we eat. Yeah.
Yeah, and we created a good partnership here in CPHP with her as well. We have direct education classes that goes to her parent groups as well and collaborate. So I've seen some of those, the engagement that the parents have, and they are very interested in continuing this healthy journey. What issues have you come across, either, I don't know, building these parent groups or maintaining these parent groups together to continue this work throughout different generations? Because schools are a cycle. You have different parents coming in. How do you get the attention for them to come in and stay with us,
For example, parents are during the school events and meetings and all of it while the kids are in the schools. And then they start a part of the community. But still, some of them want to continue participating. We have parents from, I think, 15 years ago, right, Kenneth? Yeah, or more. Yeah. And now they are taking their grandsons to the schools, and they continue participating, because they say that they never finish to learn how to cook, how to be more healthy, because of now for the grandsons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we do see like a big change when like a whole family is involved, right? Because you're seeing an example of that. And you're seeing, like, say, your mom cook well, or you're seeing the kids be involved in. I wanted to mention something to like the cooking demos that you did do. Um, One thing that we do with an organization, Southside Center of Hope, with our meal kits is that we provide cooking demos every month with them. And then the residents are able to see, you know, what is going into the meals. And then sometimes we have the opportunity to ask them, hey, what would you add to this meal? What would you change about this meal? And the feedback that you do get, it's good, because then you see how how someone would change a meal as to the person sitting next to them. And then they're also able to see that, healthy eating healthy is not like something so scary or something so big where you're just changing everything. Like you said before, it's a little tweak. It's, maybe choosing wheat spaghetti versus the normal spaghetti that you normally use, or maybe choosing low sodium tomatoes versus tomato cans or versus, the high sodium ones.
As well as the fear is just the unknown.
Yeah.
Yeah. What if I don't like it? Well, then you don't like it. It's fine. We'll move on and we'll try something else. No, see, it doesn't have to be the only thing that is the definitive answer.
Yeah. And Kenneth, can you share a little success story or school that has been like greatly transformed or impacted by your Space to Grow program?
I would say, like, I love when people ask me about the success stories because I don't know, I think I have a different kind of view of success. Because you're like, sometimes when you're thinking about success stories, you're like, yeah, I'm gonna tell you this amazing, this big thing that happened. And for me, that's not it. For me, it's just like a couple of times, like I was driving by, there's a lot of Space to Grow community schoolyards in my neighborhood. And I don't know, it was last year or 2 years ago, I was driving by one Saturday or Sunday afternoon, and there was an older male playing with a younger male. I assume it was father and son, and they were just shooting hoops. Cool. Like, something great. If that Space to Grow schoolyard wasn't there, where would they have gone? And I think about all the stories that may be associated with that. Where are the safe places for people to play? What is the family dynamic in which this father and son can play here, right? And it's like the way that we, like, by just building a space in the community, we give more opportunity for people to like live their lives the way that they see fit. And it was like, so that's my success story. There's another time we're helping every time we build this the schoolyard, we try to get as many hands on deck as possible. So we have like volunteer days, and then we have kids do planting days at the end of the construction, just so that we can build that buy-in so they know that this is their space. And I remember this one little black boy talking to another little black boy. I'm standing there, and he just looked at the other one, He was trying to be cool, you know what I mean? Like, he wouldn't take his cool off for nothing. He was like, for real though? Yo, this dirt feel good on your hands. I almost cried. He was just so happy that there was dirt on his hands and soil in there in this. I was like, what city kids really get that?
Honestly, I love that perspective because sometimes they see our communities as like dollar signs. So it's like, yeah, we need money to invest in all this, of course, but look beyond that and see what are the effects of development, of engagement, of community unity, family unity as well. Because if you're struggling, you can be going out somewhere, having like a space, like a park or something, just to hang out, just to feel that camaraderie is very special.
Okay, so you both deal with advocacy and policy. So what are from your perspective, the biggest barriers in local education policies that you deal with? And it could be from last year, it could be from this year, or maybe over time since you started in 2016 or since you started in 2008 as well.
I mean, you mentioned before that the trust in the community to see what are you doing is hard. Because even for our organization, sometimes we come in and we're like, we're here to educate. It's completely free. This is for the community. And they're like, not trusting us, right? But they also have, it's within reason. Like, it's the history we have as a society, it's always a give and take. And when it's like, no, this is for you and only you, it's fine. I feel like that's some of the barriers that we have trying to engage with either new communities or new institutions, that there's always a pushback, but it's always like within reason, I guess.
Yeah, there's always going to be that trust barrier that I agree is rightfully there. Because I just having lived in like low income communities like my entire life, I know what it is to see what I call those clipboard warriors. That they come through, they want your signature, they got these promises, and once you sign up, they disappear because they got the signature, they got what they needed. It's very like an extractive way of doing things. So community members want to see what you're bringing to the table, and not necessarily what your organization is, but like who you are. Like, are you going to be here to like, are you going to fulfill the promise? So like, are you giving or are you just taking? So yeah, you definitely deal with all that in the beginning.
And then when you work, CPS as an entity has its own rules and regulations. So in the programs that you do want to implement, do you face any barriers in trying to like stay within them or, trying to fit your programs or initiatives within CPS?
No, I don't think we have so much of a problem there because I think of a lot of what we do is in alignment. So we, like Jovita and I, we both work with parents in the schools to implement like the CPS wellness policies. There can be like the disconnect between like the CPS district, like what's going on there, and then like what's going on like at the school. So we make sure that we kind of help bridge that gap, along with the like the Office of Student Health and Wellness that educate us on how to like work with the staff in the school. So I think we work in line with them, but we are an advocacy organization, so we like stand outside of that too. So there is sometimes when we like push back and say like, well, actually we think this is some improvement on the wellness policy and like this is that stuff, but we are welcomed with like open ears and open arms to have those conversations with CPS.
Are there any future initiatives you would like to see implemented? Maybe not necessarily within the next year or so. And we can even just like get rid of the financial aspects. What is the big picture initiative you think would be helpful? Jovita, if you think of anything that the parents are in need of or would like, or something, a different type of program that would be helpful.
Can be parents are now I'm looking in school gardens with a very necessary tool because they are seeing the results. Since the kids are involved in the gardens, they are trying to eat more fresh and healthy items. And also parents, they are now more curious and also are more participant in school gardens and home gardens. And because they know now they can, after the pandemic, they can cultivate their own fresh fruits, some fresh herbs and vegetables. And then it's like a complement for daily life.
Yeah, it works hand in hand. If there's a space where they can create gardening and their own fruits and vegetables, it just can naturally integrate into their everyday life.
So this question's you had something to say.
See, I was just going back thinking about like you were asking me about like the barriers and like stuff like that, and it was, I think a barrier that I think we as a society come up across is the purpose of a school. Like, what is a school supposed to do, right? Like, we're supposed to be giving young humans all the tools they need to be healthy, thriving adult humans, right? And it's more than teaching students math and science, right? Because that's not it. Like, that's not everything that is that you need to be a healthy, functioning adult in our society. So it's like, we have to change our mentality as to what education is and what schools are supposed to provide. And then maybe changing like what, how we measure like those outcomes. Because if I'm going into a school and I'm telling, all right, I need these kids to get like, they need movement breaks and you need to do this, they need more physical activity. But if you have a teacher that is like, well, I'm being judged on what this test score says. Like, And if that's what my job depends on, then like, yeah, you're going to focus on math. You're going to grill that. And it's like, no, they're not going to get recess. They're going to stay inside and they're going to do this thing. I know that recess is probably the exact thing that they need. They need to get outside. They need to burn that energy. That I know that it helps the mind focus. It helps you retain the information that you're being taught. But if we just have this pressure for educators to teach towards certain outcomes without bringing in the other factors that come into it, and even like we as like outside people or like parents are just saying like, all right, what are the test scores? How are these kids performing in reading and stuff like that, without asking these other questions like, how much physical activity are they doing during the day? What are they eating around? You know what I'm saying? So
It's such a complicated balance because, like you mentioned, the teachers have different metrics that they have to keep under the state, the school, the union eyes, and then also looking after the well-being of the student, as well as you mentioned that the structure of the school and what the school provides is important, but it's also not only like an 8 to 3, effort. It has to be a full day effort, and I'm also bringing in the parents there. In the school level, they're gonna do their best with what they have, but there's a moment that you have to reiterate those values, or even advocate for yourself or for your child to get either the services that they need, or to make sure you are being as much as involved as you can. I know a lot of circumstances are different and a lot of involvement is different, but to be aware of that everyone is putting their little grain of sand is important.
How do you think we can bridge that gap between, teachers having to teach this and then, going into trying to implement some of these initiatives? Do you have any ideas or what? Yeah, go ahead.
This is why we work with parents, principals, teachers, community organization, and the wellness teams. Because during the wellness teams, parents are seeing the side of the parents, how the implementing the wellness policy benefits the kids. And now the teachers are seeing, if the student is healthy and is taking recess and physical education, their mind, they will be more prepared to deal with the mathematics, with all the knowledge that they are receiving every day. And if the principals that are participating in the wellness team see the benefits of all of this, then they are more able to work in the wellness team and implement the wellness policy.
So like you said, everyone has to, it's like a system, a web system, a domino effect. If we each do our part, is going to...
Everybody needs to know how they benefits in order to participate better in the wellness team.
Yeah, so I encourage like the parents, if you see there's a coalition, a group, a parent advocacy, get involved at least once in a while. Just check in once in a while to see what are they working on. The groups that Jovita has are very fun, usually involve a healthy snack, a little bit of education, and just a time to have another group of friends as well, just to build community.
So we know like any job is draining. Sometimes you have good days, sometimes you don't have good days. So how do you maintain that long-term community like involvement, and then people being excited to be in your classes, or being excited to, join your Space to Grow, or, provide space for your Space to Grow program?
For me, it's just paying attention what the parents wanted. Again, using the popular education. Just hear the opinions, the concern. They wanted to see activities every week, every month. And then we have only 4 trainings per year. But meanwhile, I used to go to their schools and have a wellness team meeting every month, and also a garden and healthy cooking. And every 2 weeks, a garden chat with garden and healthy cooking. Then in this way, they are, keeping in touch with us, and they are also keeping the interest, and because they wanted to learn more how to grow their own food, how to get home gardens, how to get more recipes, how to taste it. And then since they know that each month we have a garden and healthy cooking in some schools, they are paying attention to that kind of dates for the workshops.
Yeah, and shout out to Chicago Grows Food that helps provide, well, that does provide all of those like home gardens and like garden kits to those families so that they're growing their own food. Because like you were saying, Cassandra, it's not just the 8 to 3 thing. It's about it's about continuing those lessons back at home, and parents have really latched onto that due to the resources provided by Chicago Grows Food, that they're able to grow their own herbs and veggies at home that get the kids eating.
Now, to close out this amazing episode, because I really enjoyed this conversation, can you let us know or give us your thoughts on what message you have for our communities, or what call to action do you have for them?
Get involved in your school, especially now. Now it hasn't been this important for a very long time. I would like to remind us all that we have everything that we need to be successful, that is within us. And we're particularly speaking to my fellow African Americans, we are not going to go back further than we haven't come from before. But it is up to us to like really to circle the wagons, as they would say, like to really depend on each other and build community. Utilize schools as a center of your community. How goes the children is how goes the society. So let's make sure that we're taking care of our kids.
And for me, I recommend the parents to be involved in the schools, because some of the parents says nobody can pay attention to me, but if you participate in the school garden shop, school meetings, and you participate in any of the school committees like wellness teams and others, their voice can be heard. And then all their thoughts can be shared with other parents and other principals, and then little by little, the school will be transformed in our lives too.
Yeah.
Is there any program you want to shout out, like Facebook, Instagram, any type of thing like that?
Yeah, look us up at healthyschoolscampaign.org for our website, and I believe our Instagram is like Healthy Schools or Healthy Schools Campaign or something like that. You'll find it. All right, just do a search.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for doing this. Thank you so much for coming. I know, Jovita, you were a little nervous, but you did wonderful. You did really good. And para la próxima, la hacemos en español. Sí. Para que venga a escuchar todas las mamás también, los padres que están participando.
Yes, because most of my audience is Latino population. Yeah, Spanish speakers.
So we'll be working on getting those episodes together. Hopefully by next season, you will have another series as well.
Right, and I'll be working on learning some Spanish more than I already got before.
You can come back and we can test out the Spanish.
Sounds great.
Thank you so much.
Eat, move, save.
Thanks for listening to Healthier Habits. We hope this conversation inspired you to make the healthy choice the easy choice.
If you enjoyed this episode, please support the podcast by liking, sharing, and subscribing. Don't forget to turn on that notification bell so you never miss an episode.
Head over to healthierhabits.podbean.com to catch up on past episodes and find all the links and resources mentioned in today's show, or click around here on YouTube for more videos.
Thanks again for tuning in to Healthier Habits. Until next time, take care of yourself and stay healthy.